Hey everybody, it's Risley. Today we are ranking every pet and food in the turtle pack of Super Auto Pets. This is going to be based entirely off my opinion, so take that as you will, but I will be ranking them based off of these frickin' criterias. D being you. Why do you exist? I never take you and nobody should. Honestly, some of these people, I'm like, why are you even in the tier that you're in? Black and black. If there's nothing else is C, it's like he's fine. I wouldn't think about him on the daily, but you know, maybe occasionally. Sure, that guy sure do be existing in the game. A valued squad member. This is a dude who's part of the family. We love him. We love them. Could be anyone, but these guys, they're part of the fam. And 6, my children. These are the ones that you were most excited to see. I was tempted to name this section. It could have been called like the run definers, dudes who you're like, this is the guy who you take and everything else kind of revolves around him. But then I thought, you know, you could be a really great pet that I personally think is awesome and not necessarily be run definer, you know, because it's going to be based off when you get the animal. Like, how good are these dudes in the tier that you receive them is what we're going for. So that's the scale. These are the pets and the food. The only difference being that the Wolverine, I've got his icon looking like this. This is old. This new one currently kind of looks like a werewolf, but I couldn't find that icon online. So we're using this one. And you know what? We'll just read his new ability when we get there. Alrighty then. Starting with tier 1, we have Duck. Interesting duck. You sell him and then he gives somebody health. And you're like, Beaver, didn't you used to do that? And we're like, yeah, don't talk about it, okay? It's duck time now. He's okay. What's his big virtue? The big virtue is the fact that he's like a 2-3. That is stats, my dude. And stats in the early game, in the tier, in the first like 3 turns, having stats is all that literally matters whatsoever, in my honest opinion. So I'm gonna say, for a tier 1, if not a guy that I like more, freaking sure, I guess. He could have been an A. He's got the stats. Just having stats is like so powerful for me. The Beaver gives people attack when you sell him. He used to be so much cooler than that. He got nerfed and now he's just kind of a dude. I'd say sure and worse than Duck. The Pigeon gives you a breadcrumb. He's new and that makes me inclined to like him less, honestly. I feel like I'm a little biased for the old classic club. You're also... he's kind of a sure if there's nothing else. It gives 1 attack via the virtue of breadcrumb, which I guess synergizes later with the rabbit, but I'm not really going to be buying crap later for the rabbit. Like, I'm not you just for that guy. That's like 1 apple. What's an apple when you could have an otter? Now, an otter, that does give health, okay? Like, it's nice that you give health, and he also gives health, and health is stat, and health in the early game is way more important than attack in my opinion. Health makes you win. But I just think that his stats naturally are such baby sauce. It's like a 1-2 or a 2-1 or something. He's not going to get you wins, I don't think. Obviously, anything could theoretically get you wins, but honestly, he's not getting you wins. The pig, I like him more than I should. I'll say that just outright. His stats mean that this guy will trade. He is impossible to win, however. So in terms of choosing him, because you're like, I'm going to get some hot victories, he's just gonna die. He's gonna straight up die, and also he could get sniped and also straight up die. So honestly, I buy him more than I should. I'm gonna say he's like, if there's a nothing else, if you didn't see these dudes, then he's the dude. An ant used to be better. Now he's just an apple, I think. Or is he even just worse than an apple? What's his stats? Give 1 friend +1/+1. He is just an apple. He used to be a double apple though. He used to be a valued squad member. I used to have ants going up to the Endgame, which is bananas for a tier 1. I'm gonna say sure, but not better than Duck. He's fine. He exists in the game, or we're gonna probably have to reevaluate this after, you know, each tier maybe. The Mosquito. This is a valued squad member who I personally don't like that much, but he does kill pigs and other such things at the start of the round, so he's like preemptive damage, and preemptive damage is enough to do something. Should you be all the way up there? Good question. Man, I really wish Ant hadn't been nerfed. I want to put Ant higher up, but he's just simply, he's not that worth. Bluefish is my child. Bluefish used to be super cool, right? Give 2 friends +1/+1 when he levels, and it's like, I think he used to give +2/+2 immediately to like 1 guy or something. I don't remember exactly. He used to be cool. He's Bluefish, he's classic. I feel like anytime I think of the Bison and getting something to level 3 for the Bison, it's always been Bluefish. I'm not going to come out here and say that his ability is actually that good, or if anyone else should prioritize him. Just because of his stats and a notional appeal that I have for him, I'm putting him under a child because he is in fact my child. The Cricket. I freaking hate you with a vengeance. You're a good unit. You're probably a valued member of the squad. Honestly, being like a innate honeybee, that's quite nice. That's quite nice for the early game. And he synergizes with dude in the beginning who like help people who summon, such as Horse and whatever other dude that you might have if this dude was in the weekly. He's a valued squad member because I respect what he can do, although personally I was so irked by the concept of people doing horse cricket for so long and how it's like, okay, that's, yeah, okay, you win the first round, like whatever, that I refuse to take him the majority of the time. Horse, I want to say ooey. Horse, ooey. If you run horse, you're ooey. But honestly, valued squad member for like 2 turns. For the point of the game at which you get him, he can win you the first round or 2, kind of almost guaranteed, alright? Which means technically he is great. Behind the cricket, because he's enabled by the cricket, honestly, cricket. He better say, like, freaking thank you to that, sir, because you happening together is the only reason you get to happen at all. The snail. Rip the snail, honestly. Used to be that you could just buy him whenever you lost, and it was like some free stats, and it wasn't the best thing, but you were like, yeah, sure, I would buy a snail for 1 hot second. But then they nerfed him so that now you have to keep him on your team. I know he's like a little French smiley dude, but I'm not keeping that guy on my team. That's not you. A, you're a snail, and B, hot garbage ability. Crab. We're getting into the tier 2s. I think this guy's actually a tier 2, which is just kind of hilarious, but whatever. The crab has the potential. He scales. He scales with somebody else's health, which means that he is doubling the value of someone else scaling. He goes beautifully with the eel. Unfortunately, the eel is not actually in this pack, so that's irrelevant in this case. I don't use him as much as I should, and he's a little complicated to use because you have to do the whole like guy who attacks first uses their ability first, so you want him to have less attack than the guy, than like an eel who duplicates their health, or you want him to get after the fact if you've got a butterfly, so he's a little complicated. I want to say sure in my honest opinion. I personally find him to be a sure, but I think he's a value squad member. When I look at the other tier 2s, we'll have to reconsider that. But this guy, he can actually go to the endgame. The swan. The swan used to be super cool. They nerfed his stats. He used to be like a little beefier, so it was like $1 plus like a 2-3 or something. And that felt nice. Now he's a 1-2. He gives you $1. He's not good. If there's nothing else, even then, for $1, he's ooey, which is the worst thing ever, because before the nerf, he was a child of mine. I loved the money build. I don't know if it was necessarily actually like the best and bestest way to win, but I just found him so endearing and cute. And look at her cute little face. If there's nothing else, it's just her stats are so garbage that being on the team is not helpful. Not even for the $1 that he gives you. Okay, Dirty Rat is an interesting one. He's the kind of guy who when you first start, you're like, why in the hell? At any point in my life would I ever desire this dude to exist? He's just hurting. And yes, most of the time he does. But then you realize, my god, he'll summon rats for the enemy who only do 1 damage. So if you have his rats fighting like next up your camel, he punches the camel, gets like 3 free plays just on killing these stupid rats. Also the hippo, that dude makes the hippo go bananas. However, he's only useful in the specific scenario in which you are doing such a thing as a camel or a hippo. Which makes him very iffy, because I don't personally use him. But if you happen to be doing that thing, you could say 3 rats at this point of the game, you wouldn't actually have access to them. So good point, maybe you can't physically use this for anything till you hold him. And now that I think about that, yeah, given when he comes, I'm gonna say... I want to say ooey because he sucks, but he's like situational. I'm gonna put him in C class for situational-ish situations. He could be cool next tier, he could technically really help someone, but I wouldn't pick him for no reason. You know, I wouldn't just be like, yeah, sure, because that's just a detriment unless you're running for it. The hedgehog is a valued squad member. Why? Because having a squad made entirely of like 5 hedgehogs that just shoot 16 times, then revive themselves and shoot 16 times again, kind of hilarious. He's not gonna get you a win. Especially because I mostly play him in the back of the squad. Unless you give him a B, but that's like besides the point, we're doing a standalone situation here. He's not gonna get you the win, but he's gonna look really cute pulling in that draw. So honestly, very valued member of the squad. The peacock. This has the potential to be qualified as a run definer, because this is the kind of unit where you get it and you're like, okay, now we're just, this is the guy getting all the stats. If I'm buying apples, it's going to this dude. later he could synergize with the camel. You know, he's the kind of guy who can get hit and then have that be a gain. If you've got some sort of something that can do damage in the shop, this guy's damage, it doubles like every time naturally, and it's like freaking off the scales. He's a valued squad member. Is he my child? Did I give birth to this peacock? No, I don't think so, because he's a little boring. I just find, because he's the go-to. If you see him, you should get him in the shop. A little boring. Flamingo. Flamingo is interesting, right? He's good with a pill. I would never use him without the intention of killing him. He was born to die. So unfortunate. I'm gonna say sure. If there's nothing else, but then he's gonna be... It's like, if there's nothing else, yeah, maybe I'll take him, and that's really what I think when I take him, but because of the kill ability, and then you get like 2 apples for the price of $4, sure, you know, maybe you doing that, maybe it's worth it. The worm is a rest in frickin' pieces. The original worm who ate apples and then got things, he was like a run definer, and he was fun, and I really like saying feed animal, big stat, go win. That's like my favorite strat. Unfortunately, he was nerfed to the dirt, now he gives apples, which is like a cool synergy for some dudes on other packs, but we're looking at Turtle Pack right now. I'm gonna say if there's nothing else, because his base stats, he's like a 1-3, so he's trash, and then his thing, like stock an apple, that's not even free, you still have to pay for it. He used to be cool, the developer said, no, you're not allowed to have stats anymore, and then he became a weak little baby, and I know everyone is so upset about that, because look how cute his tiny face is. Rip. Kangaroo! This dude for the tier he's on, strength. This is how you get the stats. This dude gets stats when the guy in front of him gets hit. Look at the synergy that's happening right here. What a coincidence. This is a victory. This is a victory at the tier that you're on. In fact, I like him more than him, just because I think he's so more... You know what, even? Do I like him more? This guy, okay, Crab has more potential. I like him less, honestly. I'd like to see this guy more. I like to see him more than any of these other things. I feel like all the tier 1s would probably get screwed behind, but honestly, I'm not excited about the Crab. Honestly, I personally never take him. I just know that he's got potential. You can be ahead of the tier 1s or something. You know, like, congratulations, you're mid. Spider. This is a summoner that we can get behind. The cricket is boring. This guy is a mystery. I, for one, think gambling is crazy fun. This guy is just innate gambling, so. He's a great enabler for an early attempt at a summoner run. You know, at the beginning, you're like, it's gonna be summons, it's gonna be spiders, you can kill him for a random dude who's got no stats, but he was like a random dude. Just for the adrenaline rush, you know, just for the chance at greatness there. I'm gonna put him on the top of B. No. Here, you are a valued member of the squad, aren't you? I'm gonna place him. We're gonna come back to that. Some of these valued squad members, I'm looking at you and I'm saying I personally don't value you, okay? This dude is so funny. The dodo, he had an ability. The game devs were like, too strong, nerf it. And we were like, kind of jank, but alright. Then they were like, you know what, too strong, nerf it. And we're like, okay, kind of jank, but alright. And then they put it back. They just placed him back where he was. Now he gets 50, 100, and 150% of the guy in front's damage. He is like similar to the crab. Actually, he's like literally the crab. They have the same ability, like straight up? I guess so, yeah, except health and damage. I like him more than the crab, which is funny because health gives you the win at the beginning. Later in the game, I'm like, doesn't quite tickle the bone as much as damage does it? The badger is hilarious. Honey badger, he cannot lie. This dude will not... I know I said that we couldn't count the concept of there being a bee with the hedgehog because that's not his thing. Honey badger is defined by having a bee. This guy can get you wins with the existence of a bee. Without it, draws. Same situation, except better. Which means that you have to be in front because same situation, except better. Dolphin, our first introduction to good sniping. How much do we enjoy your sniping? What is it, like, it's like 3? 4 damage to the lowest health and triggers multiple times. 4 damage is not a lot, but at the place that you get it, it's like the only sniper that's not a mosquito, and that means something. This guy is a valid squad member. Having any sort of like one guy on our team just doing sniping, well, you're not as good as Kangaroo. You're a little better than Peacock. One guy doing sniping that early, that guy can get kills. People at that time, they still have 4 health. He can straight up kill people. A giraffe. It's our scaler, my dudes. It's the baby crud scaler. Nobody likes him. He will always be sold. He will not be taken to the end game, but he is an apple a day. He is keeping the doctors away. And when you're terrified of dental hygienists, this is the dude, okay? I'ma say, sure. Lower than Duck, because at tier 1, I do think the Duck stats matter more than you, but he's better than an ant. This is, you got an empty space, you're not really quite sure what you're juggling with yet. There he is, he's here to save the day for like 3 turns until you sell him because you got a penguin. Elephant has decent stats. At base value, buying him just to stick him at the end of your team for a few turns, there's value in that. He's got the stats to be okay as a temporary backline unit, which means he's at least a sure, but then his true power comes out. Put him in front of someone who takes damage and does more things, such as this dude and that lady. Because him and Pufferfish is an endgame strat, he's gonna have to go really far up here as a valued squad member. Them twos together, Pufferfish goes off at the end, especially with Pineapple, which doesn't happen to exist in this pack. Okay, but whatever. The camel synergizes with the elephant. Nice to see, we love that. Is he better than a peacock? He synergizes with the peacock. Honestly, like the ideal first, probably straight up this. If you're like, what's your ideal, you know, like this tier-ish team, it's like literally this. There he is. You give the stuff to him, you give it to him, he gets hit a bunch to get more damage. He's got the health from that guy, so he lives a little longer, so he lives a little longer, gets all of his stats, and then one guy in the back shooting stuff. This is beauty, grace, it's got all the colors, this is what you want. Abigail, you didn't stand out? Next time, on top of the board, elephant, yeah. I would say that he's good. I don't like him as much though, he's definitely, I don't usually have him stick around. I guess he could, but I feel like he kind of falls off at a certain point, so I'm gonna put him over there. And you're still better than him. The rabbit gives people health when they eat a food. That was cool when we used to eat food, but I don't think an apple is really that worth it. Once you get him, it's like at that point you're buying pears and stuff, and him just giving you like 1 health without leveling, just like 1 extra health without leveling. I don't personally find you worth it. I'm really close to saying ooey if there's nothing else. You might be ooey, honestly. Like your ability is just so baby-sized and cruddy to me. It's like he exists to be compared with salads, but I'm not buying salads, I'm buying better pets, alright? The ox is a mysterious man. Look at them horns, look at that angry expression. No one knows what he's thinking. If the guy in front of him dies, he gets a melon. And some damage. I don't care about him. For that fact. For those abilities, I'm like, it is very good to have melon. And your little damage thing, it's like, sure, like you get like 1 damage at the beginning of like level 1, so it's whatever. But if he is in a weekly where there are no defensive tools and there are pills, his ability to innately get himself a melon gives him an extra power slice. So this is considering only weeklies and not just his own place, because obviously you can just straight up get melons in like 3 different directions in this pack in specific. So I don't love him. But he has a potential to suddenly be like weirdly more powerful and even go endgame, and that's big here. I'll put him at sure. You know, sure. I would say you're better. I would say I'd put him there. No one's quite better than the turn 1 ducks. 3 turn 1 ducks can get you a win. Having an ox in your team doesn't necessarily get you a win, but you know, he's fine. It's whatever. The dog. This is another rip. This is another rip. Friend summoned. Gets stats until end of battle. He used to be like permanent stats when he sold or something. That's not exactly right. He wasn't the buffalo. He used to get permanent stats for some reason. Then he got nerfed to 1 billion. Every time someone is summoned, he gets stats, but then he loses them. I do not respect that. I don't respect dudes who be losing their stuff at the end of battle. I know it's cool and it's good, but that means I have to like have the rest of the team be dealing with him. And I'm just like, you know what, a tier 3 making me make the whole team deal with him in a way that I don't even care for. I'm gonna say, if there's nothing else, he is better than these guys. I'm not saying he's a bad unit. I personally just don't like to look at his face. The sheep is like the best summon up until this point. Tier 3, if you get this guy on level up, he's just gonna suddenly kill. He's literally 3 units in 1 with a 2/2 stat. That's enough to kill some dudes. Broski is too strong for this world. He gets to go like way the hell up here. I'd put him there. Part of me is honestly like, oh, even further ahead. No, he's probably like there-ish. He's better than the peacock for the time that he comes in. No, straight up, like you buy him, he'll kill like 2 units a lot of the time. And he's giving summon triggers. That guy's bananas. He is bananas. The skunk is Bom, 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 bom. Run definer, set it. The skunk reduces some dude's health. Especially if you're in a weekly with no protective tools, that's bananas. Especially if you're in a situation where there are enemy units who could have like crazy health. This guy kills the enemy's ace. And the enemy ace, possibly at the front of the squad, sometimes people only have one good dude and a bunch of guys supporting him that have like baby sauce in the back. This takes care of that. Better than blue fish at the time. Yes, the skunk is arguably one of the best units in the game. Frickin' fight me on it. The hippo is the bane of life. The bane of existence. He is also my child. I don't claim him as closely. I don't have as much emotional connection to him. However, a hippo that has been enabled, you know, he eats a dude, he kills a dude, he gets more health and damage and stuff. He will control the board. This is your guy. The guy that this dude is trying to nerf, it's the hippo. The hippo is the guy who is the most annoying. If he's working hard and he's gonna carry your squad. Everyone comes and they wanted to see it. This is the guy who rise and shine. The bison. You have to have a level 3 friend, and then this guy, as long as you've got a level 3 friend, will then just scale himself every turn. It used to be a 2-2 and now it's like a 2-1. They nerfed him, which is suck because you have to have a level 3 in order for him to do anything. And I love him so much. He is my favorite thing. When I start a game, he's not better than any of these units, but I'm putting him there because I love him. He's my child. When I start a weekly, I see if the bison is there, because being able to be like, I'm gonna go so hard to try to get a level 3 before I can unlock it, unlock that guy on turn 5, it's like an adrenaline rush. That is joy. Joy and happiness is a level 3 fish next to a bison, okay? Now, you could be tempted to take him after turn 5 when you haven't actually gotten a level 3 and you're close, and then you never actually find the extra pet, so he never does anything and then eventually gets sold. This guy is a frickin' trap. He's a trap. I feel like new people want to buy him and be like, this is gonna go off, and it never does. I love him. He's not actually this powerful, but I love him. He is my boy. The puffer fish. This dude is this powerful. This guy does go to the endgame, despite the fact that he's only a tier 4. This is an enabler. He's not as strong as other ones. But him with the elephant, that's really good. And for a tier 4, well, there's your little thing though, isn't it? I don't take him basically at all, except with the elephant, but with the elephant leveled up, he's really good. He's a situational dude, and the fact that he's okay, but he's not a definer, unless he's got the elephant, in which case he kicks butt. I'm gonna put him ahead of the elephant for valued squad member, because I would take him alone, the elephant, without, like, him, basically, near this tar, you know, near the tier 4 section. I'm not gonna keep him any longer. There's just nothing else for him to do in life, like, he's getting out, but this guy's, like, okay, but he is very valued when he's doing this thing, and if you have him, you're basically doing this thing. This is probably what's going on. The turtle, of which the pack was named a beautiful child and boy. He gives melons when he dies, and this pack comes with pills. Therefore, he is very fit to die. And, better than the flamingo, yes, him dying means godsend. You can buy melons in this pack. In the weeklies where you can't buy a melon, him and some way to kill him makes him even more powerful. The fun thing about him, though, is because you can give the melons in battle if you decide to keep him and not just kill him for the melons outside in the shop. That means that you can have things like the husky, you know, given stats to people who don't have a tool. People can get hit by weakness. The bat's not in this, but if the bat was here, they can get hit by weakness and then he would override that. Basically, he overrides negatives when you get there, and there are sometimes benefits for not having a tool already. Negative being nobody behind him can have a tool, it will be overridden. But you can have tools that give you health, you know, like a frickin' pie or something. They give you like 6 health and then they get replaced, so it's like 2 tools, you know, this guy's like double tools. All to say, he's a simple little dude, he's iconic. Is he my child? He's either a top of very valued or he's my child. A melon. An early melon, a melon on tier 4 when melons don't come naturally in tier 6. Okay, he'll be my child temporarily. A squirrel is disgusting. It's a vile creature. I hate them. Let me read their actual ability real quick. Start of turn, discount all shop food by 1 gold. At level 2 by 2, level 3 by 3. So, is that bad? No. It's not that bad. His stats are a tier 5, which means fight-wise, he's doing garbage all. If he's level 3, you're like, if he's level 3, 2 free foods. 2 free foods for the amount of money it took to get this guy to level 3. He's disgusting and I hate him. I refuse to buy him. He's got synergies. I refuse to acknowledge them. Get better. You're weak and your colors are too close. You're blending in with your little acorn. Get some variety here. Come on, kid. Penguin. This is the first good stat gains. The giraffe was chilling up until this point, and now the giraffe's like, I don't know why you even existing. Get out of the squad. This is stats. Stat gain is a victory. I'm not gonna say he's my child, although I'm never mad to see him. Is he an instant buy? If you have at least 1 tier, like level 2, I don't even need 2, honestly. I'd buy him with just 1. I'd buy him with the potential that soon I'm gonna get 1 guy to level 2. I'm gonna put him on the top of valued squad. Could be an S. Honestly, could be an S. The deer is a lovely child. This deer summons a bus. A bus has chilies. It hits people in front and the guy behind him. I love that. I love that for us. I think that he's fun. I think he's adorable. I think his ability is super neat. Even if it like messes up my squad to buy this guy, I'm tempted to buy him anyway. That's how nice he is. That's how much I value him as a person. He is what everyone wishes to see. He's not necessarily going to help your team get any better, but it feels like he could, and it helps your fun increase, which is helping the game be a better game. Cheers to deer. I love you. The whale. You're like, the whale goes behind the deer. Eat the deer. Double bus. Suave suave. I think he might have changed his ability, actually. Swallow the nearest friend. Someone to know level 1 after fainting. But that's the same thing. This guy's good against him. You could also put him behind like a scorpion. If you don't have mushrooms, you know, you could put him behind a scorpion so that the scorpion comes out second instead of first. But then like, what's the point of that if you ate him beginning? You know, right. Don't put him behind scorpion, put him behind deer. I don't use the whale. He's situational. He's situational, and I feel like he's still even kind of garbage. There are times where he could probably be pretty strong. If there's nothing else, I think he has an okay stat or something. He's close to being ooey, just on personal opinion. Not on strength, but on personal opinion, I just don't use him. You're bleh. Even worse than these guys, you know what? Let's scoot like everything back. I actually think the otter is so gross. I think you're so bad, which is so unfortunate because you're adorable, and I don't like the pigeon. Let's put you like here. He's fine, it's whatever. The parrot copies the ability of the dude ahead of him. This is like a blank card. It's like, yeah, I could just have a second of that thing that you're standing behind. I guess the idea being that this guy can kind of increase with you. Like, he's a tier 4 still, but if you get him to level 3 and you were behind like a tier 3 at some point, then you get like a better tier 6, you could be like, jokes, actually you're behind this guy now. So it's like he's non-committal. I don't run him because I feel like I usually want different animals on my team. Like, there are benefits to having the same guy a few times, but for the most part, I'd rather just have a new other guy that's going to help the synergies or something, not necessarily a duplicate of one of the ones I already got. Got us to level independently. But I think he could be good. I'm going to call him a sure. I'm going to put him above... I'm gonna put him up above all of... No, I like the spider more. The spider's just so fun and gambly. Look at it, so cute. I love him. He's really good where he is. You're like a sure, you're above those dudes, and it's like, whatever. Okay, scorpion. People, this is like the opposite of the bison thing. The bison is like new people who don't know how stuff work. They're like, this guy's gonna be cool, then he sucks. This guy's like, oh, this guy also seems like he's gonna be cool, but he's got like baby stats. He was good, he used to be good, and then stuff got more complicated, and then they were like, put a mushroom on him. He'll do no damage, die, come back. So he can't get sniped anymore, right? All the snipers are ruining this dude. Now he can come back without it with a mushroom. Sure. Sure. But it, you know, yeah, okay? Like, he seems like he's gonna be so strong, but he's kind of just fine. I'm gonna say sure. Almost a valued squad member, if only because if you were gonna put a dude on your team for like 1 turn, and it wasn't like a crazy chance that they were gonna have snipers on the enemy team, you're like, yeah, you know, the definition of sure for 1 turn and I'll deal with it later. I'll put him like here-ish. He might kill some dudes, like 1 guy basically. He's gonna kill like 1 guy. That makes him better than these dudes who are doing almost nothing for your team when you're on them. But he's not given stats. I don't know, I don't like the ox. Ox, I really feel like I don't like you. I put you only this high because of the potential you had. I really don't like you that much. Alligator. This dude shoots a heavy amount to like the last guy or something, and then he does it more. This is good snipes. This is good soup. This is some good soup right there. I would say that you're quite nice, and I like you more than this guy. This is also the definition of, you know, if you need a dude for one turn. This guy's level 1 ability, that's good enough. You put him on there, like, I'll sell you later, or I could love you, you'll stick around. Either way, good soup. The Rhino. He has changed a little bit, methinks. Let me look at his current ability. These are the tier 5s now. Knockout. Deal 4 damage to the first enemy, doubled against tier 1s. This guy said, you're not allowed to stick with tier 1s anymore. The developer said, no tier 1s. Let's not be hogging the tier 1s now. I think that this guy theoretically could be the, like, dude that you focus all your food and stats on, like the run enabler or whatever. A lot of time, because he's at tier 5, it just feels a little late. Like, he used to be at tier 4. At tier 5, I just feel like he's just late, you know? Like, you could maybe still get his stats up, and when he works, he really works. He's so annoying, he can just, like, spiral down the entire enemy team and then just win by himself. It's just harder to get him there now. I'm gonna say sure. I just don't use him. I guess I just don't have any self-confidence in the ability to actually get him to go off at tier 5. Like, it's just so far behind, you know? He has to get the kills, which is hard when you've got decent stats at this point, especially in Turtle Pack where stats matter more than the other packs. I'm gonna put him in front of the parrot. I'm more likely to take him than a parrot, but not as likely to take him than a spider. The monkey! My boy, my love of dude having stat. The monkey way ahead. He's gonna go above fish, honestly. You know what? Actually, F the universe. Bison, you were my boy. I used to love you. I don't love you so much. I think I actually care more about the monkey existing. The skunk is still better than these guys. Your stats are just fun. He's fun, he's adorable. I have a bias towards monkey-based Pokemon. The cutest dude around. This guy's, like, interesting, right? Armadillo gives everyone more health, like, by a lot. So it's basically just dude who gets hurt triggers on your team. You know, it might be enabled a little bit more if you have him. I honestly don't think there's many cases where this guy's that big. It would have to be a very specific team that you're running that you're like, yep, this is what I've been looking for, the armadillo, of course. If there's nothing else, I literally don't take him. I just don't take him anymore. He used to give, like, stats to, like, 1 or 2 dudes every time I got hit. I took him sometimes when he did that. Now, I don't take him. Ew. I'm sure there are cases where he's good. They just don't happen so often for me to be like, yeah, cow. They did, like, a ranking, and they said what animals are being taken, like, at what percentage, so that we know who to, like, frickin' nerf. The cow was up there because if you see a cow, you buy it. Just for some free milk. Some double stats, like a good amount of stats from one guy. Sucks that it takes up your shop, but most of the time, yeah, whatever's in the shop, it's like, whatever. You'll buy that first if you really want it. This guy's awesome. Is he my child? Maybe. I always buy him. You always want to buy him. You're sad if you see this guy and you can't buy him. Which, you know, sometimes will happen because he's so endgame that maybe you're like, I can't risk selling any of my guys here, unfortunately. But if you've got a space that can be sold, I'd do it. I love him. He's just on the verge between valued squad member and my child, but I think he's my child. The seal is another rest in peace. It used to be that every time he got food, it would give, like, I think health and attack. It was something more advanced. Now it's just attack. It was health and attack, which was really cool. He was a really great scaler. And now it's just attack. I care less for that. And at level 1, it's only 1 attack for 3 dudes, which is really small for a tier 5. Spreading a little bit is not as good as making 1 strong guy like the monkey does. He used to be, maybe even up here, back then when he gave health and attack. He's still fine. I would say sure above the Rhino. I don't buy him personally. I think he's probably okay. I just don't like him personally. He's probably good with the dodo. There's a little bit of synergy there, but just not the best. Rooster is the bane of man's existence. This dude was so intensely strong. When he would make chicks that had like his whole freaking like half his stats or something, way too strong for this universe. Now his chicks only get 1 health. And they only get 50% and he just has more chicks. That's fine. This guy was the bane of life and they nerfed him and he is still the bane of life. He's just that powerful. He's an absolute thing to run your entire squad around. He is close to level with Skunk. These two, I'm like, I can't even make my full decision whether this Skunk is a better support unit than he is just offense. He's just that good. Having multiple of him is hot cheating. He can kill 5 dudes by himself, my dude. I want to say... I'm going to put him behind the Skunk because the Skunk, I just feel like it's a little bit more interesting. This guy's a little boring by virtue of the fact that he's just that good. The Shark gets stats when the people on your team dies. He's great. You think he's a summoner enabler, right? You want a team with summons? Doesn't even matter. Have a team that just has 4 dudes in front of him? That's still pretty decent. You level this guy up, you got Chocolate. You know, Chocolate is in the cycle now. You'll be seeing it. This guy is good by default. He's a valued squad member. I want to say above Penguin. It's really hard to put anything above like just the average good. Like this is your scalar of choice basically. But having him on your team, even without summons, he's still so good and strong. And then with summons, bleh. Doesn't even have to level. This guy goes off. I don't love him because I'm kind of peeved every time I see him. But, you know, he's here. He's fine. It's whatever. And then we've got Turkey. Same situation, except he's making the summons better. This guy is too strong for this world. Even more than when you see a shark. When you see a turkey, you say, I hate you, enemy, with a passion. You're the worst. You're just straight horrible. You're like a plague upon our existence. It's a strong guy. Obviously, he's not really strong if you don't have summons, but why would you even have him if you did? I am not going to make him my child because I do not love him. I think that he sucks, and I hate to see him. I'm going to put him behind Shark because it's less fun, but also he is so intensely strong that, yes, he will win you games, okay? Bleh. The leopard. He does damage based off how much attack he has, I believe. 50% damage to one dude? Yeah. That's a little tricky because he's a tier 6, so I'm always a bit precocious about tier 6s that need you to enable them with stats starting now, and it's just like it's so late in the game that I'm like, do I have time to do this? So I don't personally almost ever take him because by default he starts with like 5 damage to one guy, which is just basically a dolphin. I don't take him very often, but if you're willing to start giving him stats, but I'm like, at this point I've got someone else who I'm already doing that with, so what even are you? He could be great. I'm gonna put him on Sure. Maybe above Spider. No, I like the Spider more. I like the Spider more. When the Spider comes, I love him. Okay, whatever. Sure, he exists. There he is. He could be strong if you tried hard enough, and I just don't want to try hard enough to make him be strong. Okay, we actually gotta scroll now. We're getting close to the end. The boar. We were like, Bison, you got nerfed. That sucks. And they were like, introduction. Bison 2.0. The boar gets health and damage every turn before he attacks. Which is just bananas, because he's like basically the hippo, except he doesn't even have to kill the dude. He's the hippo, but better. Introduction, better hippo. I'm gonna say he's above the bison. He literally is Bison 2.0. Adding this dude to your team without any additional thing, just like the first day that he's on your squad, he could begin kicking it off. He might not, sometimes he just kind of flounders, but with a little bit of enabling, even without it, he can theoretically immediately start kicking off, and he's the kind of dude you join to the team. Tier 6 doesn't even matter it was that late. You still add him, and he can still be amazing. The tiger copies the ability of the dude in front, or like they repeat their ability at level 1. He's a good support unit. Does a decent amount of supporting. He looks very jollyful. He's a good cheerleader. I would say he is really fun to put behind the boar or the hippo. He's definitely a valued squad member that you don't always take. You don't always want to sell or have space for a dude to make one dude repeat something at a lower level, especially. But he is really good behind snipers. I'm gonna say when you buy him, in the case that you buy him, it's probably behind a sniper or something. At that point, does it make you win the game more than that guy? I don't know. Arguably here above Penguin. He's a good unit. He doesn't need to have stats. It doesn't matter that he's got baby stats because his whole point is making someone else more strong, so it's basically whatever. I'll leave him there. He's fine. He's great. He's a good unit. I don't use him crazy often, but I know that he's got the good jams. The gorilla is also a real sadness because this guy's stats, 710, not horrible. But in order for him to get his melon, or his like coconut, right, which means free hit, coconut's amazing, best thing in the game basically. He has to get hit and live. And at this point in the game, getting hit once and surviving with no preemptive tools is really hard. He could be super cool, like after like level 2, right? He can have a second one. He has to get hit again, and I'm like, you need to get hit twice and survive. This guy's health needs to be really high, I think, for him to actually function at this point, at the tier 6, you know, turn a billion that you're on at this point. That he feels cool and you want to buy him, but a lot of times you just can't scale this guy, I think, fast enough for him to be his full potential. He doesn't have time, and if he was in a lower tier, he might have too much time. Like, at that point, he'd be too strong. So he's a very mysterious guy. I don't buy him often. If I do buy him, he usually fails me because he's just so late. Like, I can't get you enough health. Even if I put a melon on you, and then, like, I still need to give you attack for your, like, your coconut to be doing, like, 6 attack. That's not even that strong. I want to say sure, because I totally would put him on my team for a second and hope that it works, and then it doesn't because I didn't scale him. I want to say valued member of the team because I hope that he could be. Like, if you could only have stats, but you're not early enough to get stats. So you stink. You're like a false flag of hope. I'm gonna put you at the back of valued because I just wish that you could be more valued. A dragon. He gives people stats when you buy a tier 1 friend. Kind of like Moose, but different. I think that's good. You can get, with money, you know, you can get at least 3 stat upgrades for everybody. Which, when you think everybody, it's not including himself, and it's obviously not including the guy you sold. So it's really just 3 units. He buffs 3 people. He's definitely good though. You could totally buy him if you have 2 slots open, which is in itself at this point of the game, at tier 6, having 2 slots that you open to sell, a little iffy there. Still good though. I would say that he's around here-ish. I wouldn't pivot to him most of the time, but if you do pivot to him, he's quite nice. I don't take him that often though. I take him less often than I would a kangaroo. I'm gonna place him here. He's good if you use him and you have got time to actually use him. But most of the time I'm like, I don't have the potential to be skipping 2 whole dudes just to get this guy in my squad right now. The Mammoth. This guy dies and give everyone on your team stats. I think he's really boring. He's really good with the pill, you say? Yes, that's true. Do I have a pill? Great frickin' question. Do I have a space to buy him just to pill on the same turn? Also great question. He's fine. He's better than a flamingo. I would say I like him more than maybe all of these guys. He definitely is giving more stats, you know. At tier 6, I can't expect I'll have an open spot for this, so I'm less inclined maybe than a giraffe. You know, at tier 3 or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I got space. Sure, giraffe, be an apple, like whatever. I say this is a fitting space. You could start saying, you know, if you level him up and then like put a mushroom on him, then he comes back, or if you do the whale, you know, him plus whale, you could get his ability twice. And it's like, that's all decent, fine, and dandy. But if I'm looking at tier 6s, and I'm like, give me that tier 6, it's gonna change my life, it's not the Mammoth, unfortunately. The Black Cat. The Black Cat doubles the effective folds, and then triples it, and then quadruples it. It used to work infinitely in a turn, and they capped it off. They said it's too strong, now it only works twice. I loved the Black Cat because, again, I loved feeding people food, and he was making it stronger, which was really cool. When you get to the turn where you have a Black Cat, I don't expect I would be able to actually level him effectively, because most of your money at this point you're going to be spending on buying the food. If you're spending so much money to try to get that guy leveled, you're probably near the end of your game. You don't have a lot of turns left. It's like kind of a waste of money. I don't think I've ever gotten the cats to level 4, even though in the past, or level 3, even though in the past I used it a lot when I found it. Just because, like, if I get to level 3, then I just miss so much potential to have been buying food instead. So I love him. He used to be good. He's still probably good, but now that he's capped at 2 turns, like 2 uses per turn, he's just not as good. If you have an open space, I'm gonna put him at valued. You know, I was like, sure, I'm gonna put him at valued. If you have an open space, do it. You know, you're gonna be buying food, sure, you know, maybe. You could make pizzas work twice as good with him. He's a good fill space dude, and I think he's better than like a guy who's gonna do nothing. You know, like this guy who'll just die in 1 hit and do nothing. Better than the gorilla. Not an amazing member of the squad anymore. The snake! Everybody loves this dude. He is my child. This is the sniper. If the guy in front of you gets hit, or no, attacks. They switched that, I think. Deal 5 damage, then 10, then 15. That is intense damage. You got dudes at this point who got hella health and could survive multiple hits. This dude's gonna shoot for a bajillion damage before it even gets to his turn. His only weakness is that he can get sniped himself, which really sucks when it happens. Just like give him some health, give him like a melon. Don't let it happen. This guy is so powerful. He's like an instant purchase for any endgame team. Like, you don't have to, but if you see him and you don't, that's like an active, you went through a thought process to be like, why shouldn't I take this snake? And that is why he's so great. I would say he's even better than Boar. Not as good at Rooster. He would be really good behind Rooster. Cheers to that. So he works with like big healthy stat team and behind dudes who die. He works with everything. He does such damage. He's quite nice. The Fly, everyone's least favorite dude. This guy makes a fly summon when anyone dies. This guy is hot cancer. He's just horrible. He's the worst. He's strong and really annoying. He makes the round last a billion years. He's really great if you use him with either of these guys. The three dudes are the dudes you hate to see in the world because they're just so annoying. He's a valued member of the squad. Whatever. He can cause other people to be quite good. I never try to build my team around the existence of finding him. He happens so late. But if you have a summoner build and then you see him, like, that's gonna add like only really like 3 extra summons. Because you're not gonna put him last, because ideally last if you're doing a summon squad, it's gonna be one of these guys to get maximum potential out of that. And then he has to be second to last, so he's not gonna work on himself. So only the first 3 dudes are doing it. Which is fine. He's really powerful, I just hate him. I'll put him above the dragon, maybe. That's like a decent spot or whatever. And then there's this badger. He doesn't look like this anymore. He looks like a Wolverine. His ability now, I've never used him. It says 4 friends hurt, remove 2 health from all enemies. And then when he levels, it becomes 4 health and then 6 health. So he's kind of like a bear now. He's kind of like a bear that does damage when people get hit, but it's like you have to take a little less hits. And it takes it from all the guys. I don't think that's enough health this late in the game for me to necessarily think it's worth it, right? With high beefy teams, 2 health, nothing. And you only have the guys who are still alive after you get hit 4 times to like try to capitalize on that. I'm gonna say you sound like a sure, like whatever, if you have space on it, like whatever. I'm gonna say you're above, maybe above all these guys, like it's a thing. I don't think that's very strong. On teams where having, like, who already have low health, that's like making them lower. Their whole thing was probably abilities and sniping and stuff anyway, so I don't think it really matters if you take 2 additional health. I don't think this can kill them. I think that only puts them down to 1 or something, so it's whatever. Okay, so if we want to look at our animals now. Am I content with the order of this? I love the monkey, personally speaking. I'm wondering if the snake actually isn't as good, or if the skunk isn't as good as the snake. I just value the snake so much that I put him behind the rooster. Maybe this is the order? I can definitely take the argument that the skunk is argued as one of the best units in the game, okay? Even though they added the food, the durian, that just does this ability, which I think is hilarious. They were like, man, that was so good, let's put it on everyone else, which kind of makes him feel like less rare or whatever, but that's chill. This one is because of personal nostalgia. The hippo is just really strong. I'm gonna put the hippo up here. And this is fine. I'm cool with the cow being there. Cow's an auto buy. Chill. I'm curious. The mosquito is just really good for where it's at, you know? I'm gonna put the mosquito above the crab, personally, because I just don't use the crab. I think he's got decent potential. I think that this guy always dies. He's a valued member, but he always dies, and therefore is not valuable. The horse is only if you... Well, the horse is only if you've got cricket. You know what? Horse, demoted. I personally don't like you. It's whatever. Love you. You're fine. This is all stuff that's fine. You know what? Giraffe. I actually buy the giraffe more often than I buy the leopard. Just because at this tier of the game, where you buy him, you have space to actually have him. You're like, why not? Free apple. It's like kind of suck, but it's not horrible. So that's fine. I never buy the dog. I sometimes buy the pig. Just the fact that he can't win you anything anymore is really sad. I guess this is fine. This is not the order that I would say necessarily is perfect, but they all belong here. And you guys stink. This guy has uses. He's not the worst. I'm gonna put you at least worst. Followed by Swan for emotional value. Y'all stink. I just have a personal vendetta against Squirrel. I don't understand you, and I choose never to. Now we have food for a quick little bonus round. An apple. It's tier 1. You buy an apple. Does that let you win the round? 50-50 shot within the first 3 turns? Frickin' maybe. I don't know. It's fine. Here's a sure. I'm gonna put the food to the back of each of the lists. The bee, for where you get it, that's my child. The bee on a dude who, like, it not even doesn't have to, on the badger, amazing. Doesn't even have to be a badger. This is the difference between a draw and a win. And you will be surprised how often having just one summon at the back will just make you win. In the early game, a bee is wins. The pill is even better than the bee because it's the most fun item in the game. This causes so much craziness in the weeklies especially. Being able to kill animals on your team in the shop just has so many synergies and fun like situations that can come from that. Best item in the game. It's like so sad when it's not included. If it's not included in the weekly, it's like rip this weekly, you are so much less fun. The meat is good. I would say I value it because where it comes, you know, early game tier 2, that's strong enough to get you a win. This could get you some wins. More than an apple, better than a sure probably. If I was gonna buy food, which honestly in the early game I don't really buy food that often, this is good for like at least a few turns, I guess. A cupcake is temporary. It's like +2/+2, but only for that fight. I hate that. Ew. Honestly, ew. Will this get you wins? Yes. Do I hate the fact that I spent money on something that goes away? Yes. The concept of you, disgusting, I hate you. Salad. It's like 2 apples at random. That's kind of whatever. It's a sure. Am I gonna buy it more than apples? It's better than an apple. Yes, makes sense. It's a higher tier. It goes with rabbits. Rabbits, also not that great. It's whatever. Garlic, -2 damage per hit. Valued squad member, better than this thing. Even if it's the end game, if you've got dudes who you want to keep alive, you know, like get hit, do more cool things. If I don't have lemons and I don't have melon, I might put this on there even more than like a steak or something. I'm like, anything to reduce damage? Yes. Garlic, very good. Can is hot garbage. Buy that. Enemy people or like your future shop pets get +1/+1. This used to be +2/+2. Apparently that was also good. I never bought it back then either. Apparently it was so good that they nerfed it. And I'm like, okay. Stinky soup. Hot garbage soup. Nobody likes you. I guess theoretically you're better than the cupcake because the game developers thought you were too cool. I didn't think you were cool then. Still don't think you're cool now. So it's kind of whatever. A pear is tasty. I'm gonna say better than meat. I will buy pear very often. Very consistently. I'm like, yes to 2. That is a decent stacking. The chili is fun. Better than meat. Yes. And it hits through 2 people. Obviously, it's a higher tier. This makes logical sense. I like the chili. I don't necessarily buy it crazy often more, I think. And like other tools, do I value it more? I just think it's neat. The chocolate bar is a classic. This is going to be up here above B. Honestly, above pill. This is always necessary. Especially in ones where it's just like, it's so hard to find repeat animals by the end of the game when you've got all these dudes in your rotation. This is a necessary dude, and weeklies without it are so much harder to get levels and therefore less fun. The sushi is an advanced salad. I buy this when I have nothing else to buy in the shop, and I'm not mad about it. I put it behind the chili. I just like how the chili can break like melon armor. That's his main value, is breaking 2 dudes melon armor. I'll put that like in 4th or whatever. The steak +20 damage once. That can get you 1 kill. I like to put it on a guy like a monkey who's got no stats, so it's like, dude, get out there and do something. I would value this, honestly, above a chili for almost guaranteeing a kill on a dude who probably won't kill people. I value that. The melon. The melon is going to have to be really freaking strong. I'm going to put it beneath the pill. The melon and the lemon are the 2, like, protective gear. Those are things you got to look for in the weekly. Am I going to base this around having lemons or melons? -20 damage doesn't theoretically save your life, but mostly it does. The mushroom is really fun. Makes the dude come back. Really good at duplicating abilities. Stuff like the scorpion. The scorpion loves the mushroom. It brought him back into the limelight, although it's a really dim light, honestly. You could say, for summoning teams, this guy on dudes who summon even more things is amazing. You know, like get a wolf that summons 3 pigs, but this dude on him, having the back of the thing, he could summon like another 3 pigs. This infinitely improves any summoning team for the cost of 1 thing. I'm gonna say it's better than honey. The honey, I feel like kind of you don't belong here because you're not that high of a tier, but it's just honey can literally win you like 3 games at the beginning. Like 3 of your wins can be because you happen to have a honey back there. Pizza is decent stack gains. I will put it behind the chili. It's fine. I would buy it. I'd buy it more than a pear. I would buy it more than a pear. It's basically the pear of its generation, okay? And that is the completed turtle pack. Here is our frickin' rankings. I'm gonna keep the food where it is because honestly, those were sweet vibes. So yeah, that is the turtle pack. Damn, that took longer than one would expect to frickin' rank things, and I was talking non-frickin' stop. If you've got differing opinions, feel free to let me know. Some of these are, you know, emotionally based. I feel like I am biased. I'll move my head a little bit just so you can see, yes, that is in fact the cow that's behind my head. He is overshadowed by the fact that he's kind of boring and never sticks around, but there he is. But this is our ranking. I hope you guys enjoyed. Curious how you might change things if it was you yourself. and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!